I've been using Apple products for over 35 years. 35 years. That's before most people even knew what a personal computer was. I've bought the hits. I've sat through the misses. I know the difference between Apple genuinely changing something and Apple putting a new color on something old and calling it revolutionary. What I'm about to tell you today, this is the real thing. And if you've ever squinted at your iPhone screen and thought, I just wish this was bigger, you need to hear this. We live in a world where the most powerful technology ever built is being handed to you without instructions, without warnings, and without anyone asking whether it serves you or uses you. That question has a name: the virtuous machine. I'm Michael Ruthier, and this is Tech for Grownups, the show that believes technology should answer to human beings, not the other way around. This is the show the tech industry doesn't want you to hear. No corporate talking points, no sponsored opinions, just honest conversation. Let's go. Hey, welcome back. Now, this is not your regular weekly episode. This is a bonus drop. Something landed in the news this week that I couldn't sit on until next Tuesday. It was too good, too timely, and frankly, too important for the people in this community for me to wait. So here we are. Settle in. This one is worth your time. Apple is about to release its first ever foldable iPhone. And I want to tell you, as someone who has been using Apple products for over 30 years, why I think this might actually matter. Not just for the, not just for the tech enthusiast, not just for people who like shiny things, but specifically for you. Let's dig in. First, let me tell you what we actually know, because the internet is full of people presenting rumors as facts, and I'm not going to do that to you. Not at all. This information is coming from multiple credible leak sources, including physical dummy unit photos and detailed reporting from Tom's Guide, 9to5Mac, and Mac Rumors. Now, Apple has not officially confirmed any of this, but these sources are about as reliable as it gets before an actual keynote. So here's what appears to be coming in September of 2026. The phone is expected to be called the iPhone Ultra. It will be Apple's first foldable device, a book-style fold, mind you, similar to how a book opens, not a flip phone style that, you know what, we kind of grew up with, right? When it's closed, it's a normal-sized phone, and when you open it, you get a screen that's roughly 7.8 inches. That's about the size of an iPad mini in your pocket. Now, the chip inside will be the most powerful Apple has ever put in a phone. Built on a 2-nanometer process, which is engineering speak for extremely fast and extremely efficient. Now, the battery is expected to be the largest ever in an iPhone, ever, around 5,700 milliamp hours. For context, your current iPhone is probably running somewhere between 3,000 and 4,500. This thing is built to last all day, and that would be a welcomed addition to for many of us. Just call it what it is. It'd be great. The hinge itself, now the part that lets it fold, uses a liquid metal designed with vapor chamber cooling. Apple is reportedly solving the main problem that has plagued every other foldable phone: the crease. The line you see across the middle of the screen. They say it won't be there, and you know what? We'll just see. Now, Touch ID is back. It's built into the power button like it is on some of the iPads and the keyboard on the Macs. No Face ID on this one at all. There are going to be two colors, a black and silver and indigo. Deliberately minimal. Now for the release date. Here's the big one. September 2026, alongside the iPhone 18 Pro series. And the price? Well, let's just say we need to talk about that price. It's starting at around 2,000 US dollars.
Wow.
Okay, $2,000. Let me be honest with you about that because I'm not here to sell you anything. That is a lot of money, a lot of bananas, a lot of ducats. It's a lot of cash. That is a significant investment. And I want to be clear with you right now. This episode is not me telling you to run out and buy this phone in September. Not at all. That's not my advice. And I'll tell you exactly why, or really what my advice is a little later, and you'll understand as to why. I also want to remind you, this is still based on leaks. We're dealing with dummy units, supply chain sources, and very credible industry reporters. But it's not the same as standing in an Apple store and holding one in your hand. Until Apple's new CEO, John Ternus, walks out on that stage in September and puts this device in his hand, I'm treating it as highly likely, not certain. And foldable phones across every brand that has tried them, Samsung, Motorola, Google, have had durability concerns, the crease, the hinge wearing out, the fragility of that inner display. Apple says they've solved these problems. Maybe they have. Apple's engineering is excellent, but reportedly solved is very different from 3 years of real-world use. And that's my honest skepticism. I wanted to give it to you straight before I tell you why I'm genuinely excited about this. Here's the thing that nobody in the regular tech press is really talking about, at least not the way I want to talk about it. If you're over 55, there's a very good chance that at some point in the last few years, you've held your phone at arm's length, or squinted at a text message, or enlarged the font size, or even put the phone down, period. Frustrated because reading on a small screen just isn't what it used to be. And I can attest to that because it happens to me quite often. That is not a character flaw. That is biology. Vision changes as we age, period. And the phone, for all of its brilliance over all these years, has always been designed around one constraint. It has to fit in your pocket. It was never designed around your eyes. Now, a 7.8-inch screen changes that equation completely. That is not a phone with slightly bigger text. That is a reading surface. That is large enough to read your emails without adjusting a single setting. Large enough to video call your family and actually see their faces, not a postage stamp in the corner of your hand. Large enough to read a medical document or a prescription without zooming in 3 times and losing your place. And on top of that, it folds. So when you don't need the big screen, you close it. It goes in your pocket and it's just a phone again. That is the elegant part of this, okay? You're not carrying a tablet everywhere. You're carrying a phone that becomes a tablet when you need it to be. Now, let me take this one a step further because there's an accessibility angle here that I think is genuinely important. Apple already has some of the best accessibility features of any, and I mean any smartphone on the market. VoiceOver, which reads your screen aloud to you. enlarged text, high contrast displays, the built-in magnifier, which we've all used from time to time sitting at a restaurant trying to read a menu, right? Assistive access, which simplifies the entire interface on the phone. These are not marketing claims. These are real, best-in-class tools that Apple has invested in seriously for years. Now, pair all of those features with a nearly 8-inch screen. VoiceOver becomes dramatically easier to navigate. Text enlargement is less of a walk around when you have that much space to work with. And the magnifier itself, it becomes a full-sized tool. And for anyone managing low vision, macular degeneration, for example, a screen this size, it isn't a luxury. It's the difference between being able to use a phone independently and not being able to. The Touch ID return matters here too, because Face ID has been genuinely difficult for some people. Those with certain facial conditions, those who find the motion awkward, and those who prefer a fingerprint. Bringing Touch ID back, it just makes this phone much more accessible to a wider range of people. Now I want to give you one more practical argument, and then I'll give you my actual recommendation. A lot of people in our community carry two devices, a phone for calls and quick things, and an iPad for reading, watching videos, and doing email, anything that requires actually seeing what you're doing. The iPhone Ultra itself, if it delivers on these specifications, it eliminates the need for that second device. One thing in your bag, one thing to keep charged, one ecosystem, one set of apps, one Apple ID, one thing to learn and maintain. Wow. If you've ever felt overwhelmed managing multiple devices, and I hear this constantly from this community, that simplification is genuinely valuable. That's not a gimmick. That's a real quality of life improvement. Okay, here is my honest advice as someone who has watched enough Apple product cycles to know how this plays out. Do not, I repeat, do not pre-order this phone. Wait for real-world reviews. 6 months of actual user feedback will tell you things that no spec sheet ever can. Version 1 of any new form factor from any manufacturer, I don't care if it's Apple, Samsung, whomever, deserves scrutiny before you commit $2,000 to it. Don't feel pressured. If your current iPhone is working well for you, September is not a deadline. The iPhone 18 Pro is going to be an excellent phone at a more approachable price. But the Ultra is for people who genuinely need the big screen or just want to be early. But here's what I want you to do. Pay attention. Because if Apple has truly cracked a crease-free foldable with Apple-level build quality, running full iOS 26 with their entire accessibility toolkit, this is a different category of device than anything currently available. And a year or two from now, when the second generation is out and the price has come down a little and the software has matured, that's a very compelling case for the most accessibility-forward iPhone Apple has ever made. I've been an Apple user for 30 years. I've watched every major transition this company has made. The iPod, the original iPhone, which I had the two, not the original. I had the second one. The shift to Apple Silicon. I know how to tell the difference between a genuine leap and a shiny distraction. And this itself, it actually feels like a genuine leap. That's it for today's bonus episode. If you found this useful, please share it with someone you know who's an iPhone user, especially if they've ever complained about the screen being too small, and which we pretty much know people who do complain about that. This episode is for them. Now, the full blog post on this topic with all the specs, all the links, and my complete breakdown is live on the website at techforgrownups.com. I'll put the link in the show notes. And if you have questions, come find me in the free Tech for Grownups community. Just come and say hello. No pressure, no sales pitch. Just honest answers from someone who's been in this space for a long time. Now, your regular weekly episode, it'll be back next week, and I promise you that. Until then, stay curious, stay safe, and don't let the technology run ahead of you. This is Tech for Grownups. Marcus Aurelius asked a question that I think about every time I sit down to record this show. What is it fundamentally that this thing is for? Not what it claims to be for. What is it actually for? That's the virtuous machine question. And it applies to every piece of technology being built right now. The AI, the algorithms, the platforms, all of it. You'll find everything from today's episode at techforgrownups.com. Join the conversation in the community. The link is there. Stay sharp, stay loud, and I'll see you in the next one.